Breaking news out of Hollis Hall, and I mean it, Bears fans. This one has real weight. Over the last 48 hours, quiet conversations between Chicago and New York have started drawing the kind of attention that doesn't stay hidden for long. We're talking about a move that could completely reshape Matt Eberflus' defense and finally give Montez Sweat the running mate he's been waiting for. It's not rumor for clicks. It's a name that's been on the radar since draft day. And now, with the trade deadline less than 2 weeks away, it's heating up again. Germaine Johnson, the New York Jets edge rusher who just might be on the move, and Chicago is one of the teams circling. Let me walk you through what's really going on. The Bears front office has spent the last month evaluating not just the offense. That's always the loudest topic with Caleb Williams, but the other side of the ball, where the team's true identity is supposed to live. Since Eberflus took over, the message has been about building a defense that dictates terms, not reacts. After adding Sweat last year and developing Gervin Dexter and Zach Pickens inside, the logical next step was always to find another explosive edge. And when you look across the league right now, the market is thin, truly thin. That's why Jermaine Johnson's name keeps popping up in executive circles. Despite his injuries, when he's healthy, he brings power and lower body burst that can collapse the pocket and finish. And here's the key point. The Jets know they can't pay everyone. They've got Will McDonald still on a rookie deal, Quinnen Williams locked long-term, and a quarterback cap hit coming that's going to squeeze them. Johnson, on a reasonable fifth-year option, becomes a luxury piece they might cash out on. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Inside Chicago, Ryan Poles has been playing the long game with the cap. He structured deals carefully, keeping flexibility open for precisely this kind of mid-season strike. Remember, the Bears still sit among the top 5 teams in available cap space and have multiple early-round picks next year. That combination is gold for a general manager trying to accelerate a roster without mortgaging the future. They don't need to chase a rental. They can target someone with real upside who fits their timeline, a 25-year-old with proven production and room to grow. That's exactly why Johnson fits. In 2023, before his Achilles tear, he logged 7.5 sacks and 16 pressures, often facing double teams because teams slid protection away from Quinnen. Those numbers might not sound elite, but when you add context, limited snaps, rotational role, and recovery trajectory, they look a lot more valuable. From what I've heard, Chicago's scouting department has revisited Johnson's college tape, the same one that made him a first-round pick in 2022. They love his hand usage, his leverage, and especially his discipline in run defense. The Bears don't want another pure speed rusher who disappears when teams pound the ball. They want a balanced player who fits Eberflus' demand for effort and physicality. The question, as always, is price. The Jets reportedly value him around a late second-round pick, but that's just a starting point. If Chicago pushes, they'll want to structure it in a way that protects against his injury history, conditional picks, snap count triggers, that sort of thing. It's a negotiation dance that Poles has played before, and his patience usually pays off. What makes this even more compelling is how perfectly Johnson would slot into this defense. Imagine Sweat commanding doubles on one edge and Johnson crashing from the opposite side. Suddenly, that interior trio of Dexter, Billings, and Pickens becomes even more dangerous. You'd be talking about a front capable of generating pressure with 4, freeing linebackers like Tremaine Edmonds and T.J. Edwards to play downhill instead of blitzing to compensate. That's exactly the formula Eberflus used in Indianapolis when his defenses ranked top 5 in takeaways and red zone efficiency, with Caleb Williams still learning the NFL pace. Building that kind of defense is how you protect your rookie quarterback, by keeping games close, controlling tempo, and setting up short fields. Of course, none of this happens without risk. Johnson missed 15 games last season with the Achilles injury and has already been sidelined this year with an ankle issue. Durability questions are real, and the Bears' medical staff would have to sign off completely before any deal gets near approval. But when healthy, his profile matches the type of young veteran Poles has been targeting, talented but slightly undervalued due to circumstance. Think about last year's Sweat trade. Critics said it was too aggressive, yet he's now the foundation of the pass rush and a locker room tone setter. That's the blueprint. Identify a core piece before the rest of the league realizes his value, and secure him early. Another layer to all this is the psychological one. The Bears' defense, despite improvement, still lacks that aura of intimidation from the Lovie Smith and Brian Urlacher days. Adding a player like Johnson sends a message to the entire division, especially Detroit and Green Bay, that Chicago isn't rebuilding anymore. It's reloading. Imagine walking into Ford Field or Lambeau with Sweat and Johnson pinning their ears back on third down while the secondary, finally stabilized by Jalen Johnson's extension and the emergence of Kyler Gordon, locks up in man coverage. That's the kind of scenario this front office wants to build toward. Not next year. Now, the timing of the trade window only fuels the urgency. With the deadline set for November 4th, discussions across the league are already intensifying. And Chicago is in a rare position. They're not desperate, but they're aggressive. They know that even a .500 team at midseason can make noise if the defense catches fire. They've also watched how injuries and inconsistency have affected division rivals. A well-timed addition could shift playoff math overnight. From everything I'm hearing, the Bears have at least checked in with the Jets, quietly, professionally, no leaks, to gauge where New York really stands. The Jets' answer wasn't a flat no. That's why this story matters. They're listening, and here's the part that could decide it: money and control. Johnson's fifth-year option is projected around $13.4 million for 2026. Not cheap, but far from elite-edge money. The Bears could absorb that easily and even extend him early, locking him into his prime. Meanwhile, the Jets will clear cap space and recoup valuable draft capital to fix other holes. It's the kind of trade that makes sense on paper for both sides, which is why it's getting real traction in front office chatter. Still, Chicago's decision will hinge on health reports and internal evaluation more than fan excitement. So where does that leave us right now? At a crossroads. The Bears have built a young nucleus, the locker room believes again, and the coaching staff has stabilized the culture. Adding a player like Germaine Johnson could accelerate everything, or, if his injuries linger, set things back. That's the tightrope every contending front office walks in October. For fans, though, it's a sign that this organization finally has a clear vision. No more half measures, no more band-aids. Real moves, real intent. And I want to know what you think about it. If Chicago actually pulls this off, do you see Johnson as the missing piece next to Sweat? Or is it too risky given his injury past? Drop your thoughts below. I read every comment because your take matters as much as any analyst right now. Before we wrap up, remember this: the Bears are done being a passive team waiting for things to fall their way. Every decision Poles makes now ties back to one mission: surrounding Caleb Williams with a defense that lets him grow without pressure to score 40 points a game. If that means swinging for an edge rusher who once looked untouchable, then so be it. Stay locked in here at Bears News Fan Report. We'll break every detail the second it happens. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what could be one of the biggest defensive moves of the season. Because if Jermaine Johnson in Navy and Orange becomes reality, the NFC North won't look the same again.